News Chicago investigators found today's proposed $90 million settlement comes after $11 million in prior settlements connected to Watts and at least another $25 million spent on private law firms to defend Watts and the city in these cases. Total bill for taxpayers, a staggering $126 million.
But wait, it gets worse. Between 2016 and 2024, the city spent $25 million just on private lawyers to defend Ronald Watts and his crew. So the total cost for these 185 cases is actually $126 million when you include legal fees. The city's corruption council is trying to spin this as a good deal, saying they're saving taxpayers money because continuing to fight these cases would have cost between $350 million and $500 million over the next 5 years. And here's what makes this settlement even more outrageous. Chicago is facing a massive budget crisis. The city is projected to have a $146 million deficit in 2025 and a staggering $1.1 billion budget shortfall in 2026.
Richardson Lowry says $25 million has been spent on private attorneys to represent the city on Watts cases in federal court. And had the city continued to fight the civil rights cases, the projected cost up to $500 million.
But here's the kicker. Chicago is literally budgeting for police corruption like it's a normal city expense. They're setting aside $82 million annually just to pay for police misconduct settlements. Think about that. They're planning for the police to be so corrupt that they need a budget nearly $100 million every year just to pay for victims. Meanwhile, the city is facing cuts to essential services, federal funding reductions, rising personnel costs, but somehow they find the money to pay for police misconduct settlements. The most infuriating part of this whole story is watching Chicago politicians actually celebrate this settlement. City council members are calling it a staggering good outcome for taxpayers. One alderman said he was relieved it didn't cost more.
Mayor Johnson shared a statement saying, "It's a historic moment that reflects our commitment to accountability and healing." Police Superintendent Larry Snelling said the cases involved in this settlement do not represent the Chicago Police Department of today.
Are you kidding me? You're celebrating having to pay $90 million because your police department was so corrupt that innocent people spent 200 years in prison? That's not a relief. That's a complete failure of leadership and accountability. Mayor Brandon Johnson, Mayor Mohawk, is calling this a historic moment that reflects the commitment to accountability and healing. But where's the accountability for the system that allowed this to happen in the first place? Where's the accountability for supervisors who enabled Ronald Watts?
110 cases have been thrown out, all receiving certificates of innocence and some compensation from the state. Lawyers pushed for more men and women to be let out, but that didn't happen.